All right. Hello, hello, hello. My beautifulest of beautiful people. Hopefully this is, in fact, broadcasting to the right spot and not my own channel. Let me just check up on that and make sure. Okay, we are live. You can probably hear me. And we are coming in so hot because we're already down to like 2 minutes left in qualifying. Coming hot out of the gates, a red flag in Xbox Division 1 kept me very delayed. But thank you guys for joining me. We're just about catching the tail end, the critical points of PC Division 4 qualifying. And I can take just a quick moment to breathe. Yes, let me check up on that. It should be better now that I'm like just about yelling into the microphone. So hopefully that's fixed it. I'm checking game audio should be good. Let me know going forward if it still needs to be boosted, and I've made a slight tweak to it. If it's still too quiet, just let me know. But Space Ghost sits provisionally on pole ahead of Oba Mendez, Captain Wilco, and Project Stealth. Delta the Hunter is the next car furthest along on a flying lap here. To personal best first sector, about to work their way through the long second sector, but invalidates through Maggots and Beckett's, so that is going to cost them a little bit of time, and nobody currently on a valid flying lap. So we will hold just for a moment and get ready to grab the next race runners here, see who is on a lap. Space Ghost, of course, has already completed his lap. Likely not going to get around for another flyer before the end of this one. Let's see, lots of drivers on out laps. We'll grab, let's see, is it Oba Mendez? Once the timer comes up, boop, which it does now. Stolen Valor, first to start working their way around the sector. We'll grab some onboard action from them, see how they work their way through the loop, the switchback section in Sector 1. Tricky part of the track to deal with. And now as they open up the steering, get on the power, DRS opens as they come down the Wellington Straight. First sector split, and they are purple through the first sector, just about 0.07 of a second quicker than Space Ghost's provisional pole time at the moment. So with a good middle sector, they can really start to put the pressure on Space Ghost to try and take away that pole position. We'll see how they manage to work their way through Cops. Little lift, not quite flat like it was in 2020 and 2021. The cars definitely have to turn in a little bit more. Now Maggots Beckett's committed through the first part, just kind of gliding it through, very little brake application. And then through, we will see how they are at the second checkup here. Next sector split, and they've gone personal best, and they are now a 10th ahead of Space Ghost's ultimate pace. Renovatio just a personal best in the first sector, same with Delta the Hunter. So nobody challenging the ultimate pace of Stolen Valor in the first sector just yet as we get to the tail end of this qualifying session. Stolen Valor will be the first to cross the line and likely will set a new benchmark. Renovatio is a 10th up on Space Ghost, so it'll all come down to the third sector. Stolen Valor crosses the line and only goes P2 at 129.0. So they did not find any improvement there at the end. Renovatio going to be next across the line into the Vale chicane, hard on the brakes, kisses the first apex. The next apex now easy on the power as you try and get the car rotated. No purple sectors, but overall good lap time, and does go provisional pole, does Renovatio. Next up behind them, Delta the Hunter with the red light flashing. Nope, that's going to not be Delta the Hunter. That is going to actually be Zhao. Red light not flashing. Crosses the line, goes P7 on this one. Stashes will be next across the line, if I can find them, as they're moving up and down. So Stashes improves to P9. John Lemon will be the next one through the Vale chicane here, getting that car nice and rotated through two personal best sectors. Where will they go in the timing tower? Jumps up to P6, so a good result there for the Lemon. Oba Mendez working their way through the final couple of corners. No improvements in the middle sector, and big hop over the curbs. That's going to cost them tons of time, and they will back out of that lap. Captain Wilco next across the line, improves, goes second overall, so a 129.082 puts them on the front row of the grid, and I believe it is just Stolen Valor who is working their way around now. We'll keep an eye on them. They do have that rear red light flashing, and I think they are just going to be coming in. So we caught you right at the tail end of the qualifying session, able to at least get that much in for y'all. And we have Renovatio once again taking another pole position. Captain Wilco taking the front row there, and Space Ghost sits in a comfortable P3, only 6 milliseconds separating Space goes from the front row there. Stolen Valor as well, just within that same 1/10 mark. Very, very tight at the top. We'll actually take a quick look. And you see after P1, it's 1/10 of a second covers the next 4 positions, and John Lemon right there. So 2/10 covers the next up to P7. So very tight grid there in this one, and we're just waiting for cars to work their way around this one. Yeah, 28.5 is a pretty solid pace for Division 4, but your official qualifying results to the start of the British Grand Prix here for PC Division 4. Renovatio ahead of Captain Wilco, Space Ghost, Stolen Valor, Open Mendez, John Lemon, Project Stealth, Zhao, Delta the Hunter, Stashes, Ivory Lightning, Chronicle, Cypher, and Squids. They did not get to set a time. Neither did Blob. We did see Business Monkey join. Now we will go ahead and relax while people get their set up. But we'll go ahead and run the intros, and we didn't get the chance to do that just a moment ago. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. People have readied up pretty much instantaneously, but we are here for PC Division 4, Round 5 of Season 6 of the FRS. We're at Silverstone in Great Britain, and it looks to be a sunny day, but at over 27 seconds, drivers lose a ton of time in the pits here at Silverstone, so don't look for 2 stops to be any kind of strategy around here. But taking a look at the track, 5.8 kilometers around, 18 turns, and 2 DRS zones. Plenty of high-speed action to close up and carry some momentum into the overtaking zones. Not the easiest track to overtake around, as the formation is just starting, but Silverstone, one of only 3 tracks to host a season finale in the FRS, joins Interlagos and the Red Bull Ring last season. Now we'll take a quick look at the action zones while the formation lap is ongoing. Brooklands into left field at the end of the first DRS straight is going to be your best overtaking opportunity in here and create some good side-by-side battling. And then, of course, down the hanger straight, you head into the high-speed right-hander of Stowe. Not much of a braking zone, but a wide section of track to go side by side with. And now, as the tires pull up and the driver starts to get ready to pull up on the grid, the mediums and the hards likely to be a race tires, 7/10 of a lap slower for the mediums, 1.3 for the hards. 18 laps of this 26-lap race can be covered by the hards, and 14 for the mediums. Now we will jump into the middle of our introductory section here. As the drivers are getting formed up on the grid, David Croft has said his piece on the broadcast formation lap. And I think it's just about time to get underway in this one. Renovatio on pole position, looking to get a good launch. Captain Wilco in a higher up position than they normally are. So we will see, wrong button, who gets away from the line. Well, it looks like a good launch from Squids at the very back there. Renovatio covering the line. Space Ghost gets up the inside as well as Stolen Valor side by side. They're going to go behind into turn 1, but Renovatio has covered it, and Captain Wilco has gotten swallowed up. Open Mendez dropping back a little bit as well. Very, very wide as they try and sort their way through the loop. A tricky back and forth into this one. Zhao seems to have come off the worst in it as they're P15, and around goes Wilco, and that is going to cost them some significant time. Luckily on lap 1, it's easy to recover. Another spinner, Delta the Hunter, the Red Bull, has gone around. So a couple of drivers having some trouble at the start of this one. Project Stealth dropping through the field, although I think that's by virtue of duking it out through left field here, the long right-hander, just trying to get the power down, an easy place to lose traction. Oh, it's going to get very interesting. Stashes, Project Stealth, Squids might just about make it 3 wide into Cops if they're not careful, but no, they've sorted it out, and they're going to go line astern. John Lemon up into 6th place has gotten a pretty good run there. Squids is around on the exit of Cops, and that's going to drop them down a couple of places as Chronicle and Blob work their way through this one. Luckily, lap 1, even with the spinners, not too much of a field spread. We'll grab Cypher, and there's that Blob that has gone around. It looks like they've dropped a little bit off the back of the pack. We'll grab the Lemon himself up into P6 in this one, just ahead of their Alfa Romeo teammate and looking to threaten the Mercedes of Ivory Lightning, who's going to try and close that gap and give their teammate some rear gunner support in this one. Renovatio, unsurprisingly, setting fastest lap of the race. Only driver to start on the soft compound tire. Not the ideal strategy. Will likely have to go soft onto hard and have to really stretch out those hard compound tires. 26 laps the distance of this race, as it looks like Wilco and Delta have sorted themselves out. Just missed that one. We'll go back to the Lemon, especially as Stashes is starting to get there with a good release off of this corner. John Lemon can have the slipstream, and now we will see if he is going to get that release he needs. Make the move down into Brooklands. Doesn't look like they're quite going to be there, and are just going to have to settle in. But a little wide of the apex is Ivory Lightning. Yellow flags once again as Squids is around the McLaren at the back of the field. But John Lemon, just a little bit of oversteer to correct coming out of the corner. You kind of want to just try and slide the rear end of the car around left field to get it rotated. Has gotten a pretty good release. One more lap at the start of the next lap will be the DRS enabled. And away they go. So it's going to be closing up just a little bit. It's Renovatio out to a 2-second gap. You would expect that, though, with the soft tires providing some early action. Although about 4 laps in, you may see those soft tires really start to die out and cost them some serious lap time in this one. Project Stealth has made a move on Stashes, or is that Stashes that has gone around? Stashes looks to have gone around, so they've lost tons of positions there. Renovatio setting a new fastest lap of the race out in the front as DRS becomes enabled. And so closest battle on track is the one with the Lemon and the Mercedes. 2/10 the gap as they work their way through turn 1, and Squids having a nightmare of a time there. Once again, that yellow flag locally just for Squids trying to get back onto the track. Wilco is into the pit lane, likely for some damage to deal with. And now, is John Lemon going to get the release they need off this corner? DRS is going to swing open. They're going to have that letterbox open up in the rear wing. Closing, but not quite close enough into the braking zone for Brooklands there, and will once again maintain position. Project Stealth starting to close the gap up quite a bit as well in this one. So it could very well be turning into a 3-way fight relatively quickly. It's all about how you carry the momentum through cops here. John Lemon has a little look to the inside and doesn't quite get their nose in there. Has to back out a little bit. They're still carrying good momentum, but instead of being 2/10 back, they're now about 4. But we'll see how they navigate the tricky Maggots, Beckett's, and Village complex here. Or Chapel. Village is in another spot of the track. Village is turn 1. But look at that rear wing open. Are they going to have the overspeed? Defending to the inside is Ivory Lightning. Sweeping to the outside is John Lemon. They've got the nose ahead as it is, but they're just going to lose out on ground. And side by side they go. John Lemon carrying the extra momentum around the outside of Stowe. Hard on the brakes on the inside. It looks like, though, Ivory Lightning is just going to hold that position off. We'll jump back and grab as Zhao and Delta the Hunter are duking it out down into Stowe and now into the Vale Chicane. And I think Zhao is just about going to hold that position off, but we are getting ready for the trio, Ivory Lightning, John Lemon, Project Stealth, to go at it once again, this time through the loop. And now it looks like Project Stealth going to be putting a little bit more pressure on John Lemon. But, oh, the back end's around for Project Stealth. A little too much throttle there, and they are out of this battle now. I think they've managed to keep the car off the track enough to where, yeah, they've just rejoined and pulled to the side. Oh, Cypher loses the back end. Lift off oversteer trying to get around the rejoining Project Stealth. I think he had the space to stay foot into the floor, and I think just might have had that little bit of lift off oversteer. But we'll push forward a little bit as Stash is working their way back. Oh, we missed John Lemon on the way into Cops, taking over the position from Ivory Lightning, but they are very close together, so we'll keep an eye on them. As now, Ivory Lightning, who has shown very good straight line speed, may have the opportunity to re-attack John Lemon once again into Stowe. Losing a little bit of ground, although gaining it back through Chapel, and now opening that rear wing. The extra reduction in drag will grab a little bit of telemetry here. 332 kilometers an hour, whatever that is in miles an hour. Let me know. I am bad at that conversion, being an American, and I like the round number of 200 miles an hour personally, which I think is a cool number. I would estimate that it's probably about 195 miles an hour, if I had to guess. Belly, help me out on that one. But still, this battle rages on, and now Zhao is closing up to the back of Project Stealth as Squids is doing a Ferrari impression in Spinale. Once again, you see that orange dot stationary, while his teammate Space Ghost in a comfortable P3. It's spread out at the front, and we should, though, expect to see those soft tires start to degrade on Renovatio's car. Now, we'll take a look as we settle in here. The biggest gainers and droppers in this one, Wilco has dropped 11 places from the front row. That spin putting them way down in the pack. Ivory Lightning, your biggest gainer of the race, 5 positions up. John Lemon up 1 position from P6, so still running now inside that top 5 as Ivory Lightning is attempting to close up, but not going to be close enough to make any kind of attack just yet in this one. But Div 4 has the opportunity to settle in, and for those who tuned into the PC Div R race, we'll give you a quick weather update. It looks like this one is going to stay dry with just a little bit of cloud cover throughout it. Oh, around, was that Space Ghost? No, that's Squids. That was a McLaren that was spun in the middle, and I thought it may have been Space Ghost having trouble. It is Squids again. Unfortunate day for Squids, really struggling with the rear of the car. May have just got the setup a little bit wrong as Project Stealth using that DRS to streak past Chronicle, and now Zhao is going to try and go around the outside into Stowe here. Carry the momentum, all right, onto the exit curbing. You see just kind of that slingshot effect as they carry that extra pace around. There's a couple yellow flags, just local yellows though, no big issues so far. And oh, around goes Chronicle. So easy to lose the rear of the car. It's a little bit bumpy on the exit there. And around they go. Delta the Hunter is opting for the pit lane, so they're coming in to make an early stop off of those medium compound tires. Did they have any damage? We'll just kind of grab a quick look at them. Yes, they are getting a brand new front wing installed on that car. And we'll get going once again. They're on to the soft tire, so committing to the 2-stop strategy, which is less than ideal. And Squid's retiring on his way into the pit lane, so has had enough of today's running. Tough day for Squids. I think may have just got the setup a little bit wrong. It's so easy to really want the car to be very much on the nose for these high-speed, aero-dependent corners. But if you get it too far on the nose, then you really lose that rear-end stability and grip. So it makes for a very tough day if you're getting it just a little bit wrong. Closest battle on track now is Zhao and Project Stealth, who both snuck their way past Chronicle before their spin and now are going to be duking it out once more down the DRS straight, the Hangar straight as it is called. And now you will see that letterbox up. Not the best exit. Project Stealth gaining a little bit more ground there, but it is going to help them close up the margin. But we are just kind of settling into this one and enjoying cars on track. PC Division R, all wet race the whole way around, intermediates the whole way. But no rain expected in this one. So we will see as Stolen Valor now 3.1 seconds off the back of Renovatio. I believe that gap has been coming down relatively recently here. Actually, go ahead and take an eye on Stolen Valor, because on my little dashboard on side, I can take a look and see last lap for both of them. Renovatio at 32.7, Stolen Valor at 32.9. So still about even Stevens on tire pace, although it looks like Stolen Valor may be on for a pretty good lap here. We'll stay on board with them for a moment. We'll keep an eye on the timing tower. No, we can't stay here. Zhao's 0.3 of a second behind Project Stealth, although as I say, that falls back to about that half-second margin. We've got another spinner. I think that is Delta the Hunter, who's gone around through the last turn. Not sure. They may need another wing change. It is so easy to lose the back end of the car, spin, and get the nose into the wall there. So Oba Mendez has made a move on Space Ghost as well. That one was starting to brew, but it was a relatively elementary DRS overtake in this case. We will jump back to the battle between Zhao and Project Stealth a little quicker through Magus Beckett's and Chapel. Blinking red light, though, on the rear. ERS is starting to run out for the Alpha Tauri. You only gain about 9% of a lap on the recharge, so it is very difficult to get that car back into ideal battery range to make another attack. Ivory Lightning picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limits warning. And we've got another yellow flag on the exit of Cops, it looks like, once again. No, that is Cypher, I think, this time. waiting for their timer to update as they get back. And yeah, that was Cypher having a spin. So now both of the Red Bulls at the back of the pack. And we'll continue to stick with this duel between Zhao and Project Stealth. Grab the onboard camera, give you a little bit of telemetry as that DRS opens up. A little bit of overtake usage here and there. You can see that yellow bar battery running fairly low for them. Breaking into Brooklyn's, picking up that apex on the left quite nicely there. There's a local yellow. That is John Lemon, who's gone around on the exit. Gets him on the right side of the track, rejoining now. After running in the top 5, an unfortunate spin for John Lemon, and now is going to have some work to do to get back to their starting position. But we'll stay with Zhao, confident through Cops, closing on their way into Maggots and Beckett's. Can they get the exit that they need? I believe Blob has gone around, and looks like they're carrying a little more speed through the first sections of it, but Project Stealth just a little bit more of an exit there, and it may be time for Zhao to just kind of dial in and slow down. Renovatio has gone around. Renovatio's in the pit lane. Whew. I saw yellow flags for Blob. Forgive me for the overreaction. Renovatio into the pit lane onto the hard compound tire at about the distance you would expect. Should be able to take those to the end of the race. We'll pick this battle back up. The Space Ghost battle with Oba Mendez. As it looks like they've had a pretty nip and tuck duel. Space Ghost a couple of tenths quicker on the last lap in this one. They are now lapping down in the 134, so having lost a fair bit of pace, maybe the side-by-side action costing it. Yeah, apologies for the excitement. I saw a slow-moving Mercedes dot and yellow flags in the sector, and well, let's be honest, Renovatio, while very quick, is prone to the odd mistake here and there, and it wouldn't be completely unexpected if there was a solo spin. Project Stealth now catching up to Stashes as dragged Zhao along up to this fight. Now going to turn into a three-way duel for this one as Space Ghost is starting to lose just a little bit of ground to the Oba Mendez in front of him. So it's a Ferrari 1-2 as it stands right now. Granted, none of the top 7 as they are have made their pit stop. Renovatio the furthest up the road having made their stop. We'll grab the leader gap. You lose nearly 30 seconds in the pit lane here, so Renovatio in position to try and retake the lead of this race. Project Stealth on for a good move up the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Stashes. Just kind of gives the elbows out. Make sure they delay the turn in. Decent racecraft there, and into the pit lane is the other Mercedes, Ivory Lightning, coming to get rid of those medium tires. You'd expect the medium tires to be taken a little bit further into the race, but he's opted to get a new set of boots as this duel continues on and on. Stashes Project Stealth into turn 1, and looks like Project Stealth is just about going to have that one covered off. Bring the intervals back up as Reno and Ivory Lightning swapping positions in the pit lane there. So Mercedes running line astern once again. Chronicle is into the pit lane, so the Aston Martin not in danger of overtaking the position of Ivory Lightning. And we are now looking at the top 6 who have stayed out in this one. 9 laps done on those medium compound tires. Usually about lap 12 is when you'd expect them to come in and make their stop for the day. Project Stealth's got about 12 seconds to catch up to Space Ghost ahead, who is still putting the pressure on Oba Mendez. We might just about grab them if nothing develops in this next couple of corners. We will grab Space Ghost and his battle down the DRS straight for the moment. DRS is wide open, and they're closing up on the back of Project Stealth, and Oba Mendez not in a position to make the move. So now we'll grab this duel once again. Project Stealth and Stashes working their way through some backmarker traffic. Blob having a tough day there in the Alpha Tower. He's going to have to jump out of the way. Not the best adherence of blue flags, but just about gets off the racing line for the time that they need on the soft compound tires. So they may be looking to attack and unlap themselves. They've gone very deep into the penultimate chicane there. So they are going to fall off the back and continue on will this battle. Renovatio now catching up to Zhao. Oba Mendez is in the pit lane. So out of P2, Oba Mendez coming in, not letting Space Ghost undercut them. So into the pit lane they will go. Renovatio looking to take a position away from Zhao on track here. Zhao still has to make their pit stop in this one. Stashes and Project still an interesting battle going on at this first DRS zone down the Wellington Straight, but that blinking rear light indicating low battery available to them. So that extra 160 horsepower, not quite as much as going to be being deployed as the power pack attempts to recharge itself, but has gotten a fairly good exit out of left field here. And we're just going to have to jump back because Renovatio has also caught right up, and they're working their way through the back marker traffic of Blob. And wow, that glass of water is no longer cold. It's very hot. There is yellow flags. I believe that is one of the Red Bulls. I think it is Delta that is off at the final corners. Had made a couple mistakes there. So is having a tough day. The gap between Project Stealth and Stash is over a second now. So that battle not quite developing. Renovatio on those fresh hard compound tires should have an opportunity to catch up to the AlphaTauri of Zhao. Or will we see Zhao dive into the pit lane? We'll grab some on board from Renovatio and see what Zhao does in front. Not even an inkling of headed to the pit lane, so Zhao staying out once again. Renovatio having an opportunity maybe to just kind of use the DRS to pull them along. We'll grab the leader gap. Now it's 27 seconds to Stolen Valor, so they've made a couple of seconds as Stashes comes into the pit lane and is going to make a change of compound as well. So Renovatio in position to take the lead of this race once the leaders currently come in to make their pit stops. As a car off to the right. And oh, wide goes Zhao. Renovatio up the inside, going to snag that one, and no, he's gonna have to yield the position because he made the overtake in a yellow flag zone. So he's yielded the position and quite a lot of time. He just needed to let Zhao back through. But now has cost himself about 1.7 seconds to the AlphaTauri, and now their gap to the leader, 32 seconds. So they had to hand that position back, but they didn't need to quite lift off so aggressively to do so. Delta the Hunter picking up a speeding in the pit lane penalty, an easy penalty to accumulate here at Silverstone. Much slower pit lane entry, but Renovatio has really put the hammer down to close back up to Zhao in this one. Project Stealth is a driver who went off, but has managed to close back up. Does Zhao have some kind of damage? DRS now open for Renovatio. To the inside they go. And should be a fairly clinical move down into Stowe. Zhao trying to pick a little bit of slipstream. Stolen Valor now into the pit lane, as is a Red Bull, it looks like, on the track map. They are trundling down the pit lane, so they are getting back to going again. I think because of that overtaking under the yellows, having to hand that place back, it's going to be nip and tuck between Stolen Valor and Renovatio out of turn one. Ghosted inside of another car, side by side. And Stolen Valor has indeed come out ahead of Renovatio. So the overcut proving to work, granted helped out by that overtaking in the yellow flag zone. And now Stolen Valor is in the lead of this race. Soba Mendez in P5. He's got a couple of seconds to make up, but we are set up for a duel for the race win here. Of course, Stolen Valor having to get those hard compound tires up to temperature, a very, very big task here. Because you have to run such low pressures, because it's such a high energy circuit, and because the hard compound tire is the C1 compound, the hardest in the Pirelli range. Its tire warm-up is extraordinarily difficult and extremely slow. They are catching up to some back markers here through Beckett's, and I think Stolen Valor is actually going to sneak a little bit of cheeky DRS off the back marker. We'll keep an eye out. Does that rear wing flip open? Indeed it does, so that is going to make Renovatio's job a little harder to overtake, but Renovatio with good straight line speed in the slipstream, that rear light blinking on the Ferrari, but no, Renovatio not quite there to make the move yet. And now these Red Bulls trying to fight their way back through or to get on the lead lap. Deep goes the Red Bull of Cypher, it looks like. And a big snap of oversteer from Delta the Hunter, who has had trouble with these final corners. So through go the leaders, and Renovatio just 0.3 of a second behind the net leader of the race. Of course, the actual leaders, Space Ghost and Project Stealth. Now, still the only cars yet to make a stop in this race. They started on the medium compound tires. They've only got about another lap or two of life, I would say, in them. You might be able to stretch them to lap 15, but they are going to be getting into that puncture territory under the heavy, heavy loads that are present here around Silverstone. Renovatio poised to attack. Stolen Valor having to use lots of battery in this one to try and stay ahead of the Mercedes. And it does seem to have gotten their tires up to temperature now. A full lap outlap should do it, but they likely had to use a lot of that energy to hold that position, and now are going to have to be defending off of the DRS of Renovatio behind, who's sitting right about 0.6 of a second. And it closes down to 0.4 down the hangar straight, and it is not quite going to be a move yet. Lots of sparks from the underbelly of that Ferrari that indicate they're probably running a fairly low ride height, and with a bit of the bumpiness around some of the sections of the track, might be easy to lose a little bit of traction. Space Ghost is into the pit lanes, it appears, so they've opted to finally make their stop in this race. We'll see where they come out relative to the leaders, if they will maintain a top 5 finish. It does appear that Oba Mendez is going to sneak their way through up into 4th, and Ivory Lightning just a little bit far back. So Space Ghost comfortably boxes into some clean air and will be in the running for P5. So Project Stealth, the only driver still yet to make their pit stop. We will grab an onboard of them to see how they are, if they are pushing their way around this track or if they're trying to nurse the tires. It seems like they are indeed still putting a fair bit of effort into this one to go as quick as they can. So they must certainly be taking some life out of those tires, using all the track on the kink down the old pit straight here. Now through Cops. A little bit of a lift, a downshift, a dab of the brakes, and the car gets rotated, then full throttle. But we'll keep an eye out as Project Stealth is likely to make a pit stop relatively soon. And just a little bit further back down the road is this fight for the net lead of the race. Renovatio, Oba Mendez, side by side. I think that Red Bull might be just behind Stolen Valor, not Oba Mendez. And so Stolen Valor not going to get that DRS, but these drivers need to get out of the way. These cars lap down. They are fighting to try and unlap themselves, especially as now they will be on the lead lap of the race, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The Red Bull is now technically on the lead lap. He's got to try and break it, but no, he's spun. I was going to say, he's got to try and break the gap of the blue flags, and he could be in position to get essentially a lucky dog if there was a safety car. But 16 laps of this 26-lap race in the books. Stolen Valor leads from Oba Mendez and Renovatio in reverse order. Space Ghost in P4. Project Stealth in the pits is in 5th, and we'll see if they can come out ahead of Ivory Lightning. Stashes and John Lemon, the 2 Alfa Romeos, running 7th and 8th at the moment. And it looks like they may all just sneak by Project Stealth. So Ivory Lightning up to 5th, Stashes to 6th. Project Stealth slots in 7th. John Lemon running in P8 in this one. Zhao in 9th, and Chronicle, the Aston Martin, rounding out the top 10. So plenty of action up at the front of this now, as the leaders are indeed the leaders. Just 10 laps left to go in this race here, and we will see who has the pace at the tail end of the stint. Stolen Valor's had that red ERS light blinking for basically the entire second stint here. They've come out ahead of Renovatio. They've been using that battery strategically to try and stay ahead, and Renovatio not really making quite the impression to make a move, but a good slipstream here. They've lifted. Renovatio is actually purposefully sitting behind Stolen Valor at this stage. They had plenty of overspeed to try and make a move down into Stowe there, I believe, and they've gone ahead and stayed behind. So while that battle is hanging out just a little bit, Stashes is on their back end of the other Mercedes. Ivory Lightning swings to the outside as Ivory defends the inside, but not enough overlap quite there. Will Stashes have the momentum down the hill? He's got a very good release off of Stowe. Down the inside on the brake, side by side they go. A little bit of curbing taken there. Hard to see how much space was left by Ivory Lightning. You would expect they knew that that dive was going to be coming, or the side by side braking action. And let me guess, Renovatio once again lifting out at the end of a DRS zone and just settling in behind Stolen Valor. So an interesting choice from Marino there to not run in the clean air, to stay in the slipstream. And I think, though, now Oba Mendez is starting to close the gap just a little bit. And the podium position is relatively short. Space Ghost has about 4.5 seconds to make up. Stashes has an incredible run here. We're probably not going to see much of it. Deep on the brakes is Ivory Lightning opening up the entry, and Stashes just has to tuck in. But look at the pace that Stashes is carrying around these high downforce sections of the track. Maybe a setup differential might have a little bit more wing on, and using the slipstream. Ivory Lightning now staying ahead. Project Stealth with a track limits penalty, and around goes Stolen Valor. Renovatio was racing them side by side. I didn't see in time if there was contact between the two. Oba Mendez is through, as is Space Ghost, and that is a considerable amount of time lost on that spin. It looked like the job may have been done on the way into it, and Stolen Valor's into the pit lanes, and they picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding. Oh no, it's all falling off. The wheels are coming off the Ferrari in this one. Oba Mendez, 3-second time penalty. Delta the Hunter has retired in the pit lane. So they've parked. No, Delta the Hunter has crashed on the exit. Let me see if I can grab one. Delta the Hunter has actually crashed on the inside of turn 1, and that is a full safety car. We have a full safety car called. So Stolen Valor going to get that pit done, that wing change a little bit cheaper, and it's now going to bunch the field right up. With only 8 laps left to go in this one, as drivers left and right picking up that speeding in the pit lane penalty, a tough penalty to have to deal with around here. But Renovatio out in the lead now. Does this lead pack, these top 3 drivers, take a cheap pit stop to go onto a set of soft tires to the end? We'll go ahead and ride on with Renovatio, not on board, but around them. And we will just have to wait and see what they do. Still got a couple of corners left before they get to the pit entry, and we will see what kind of choices they make. But Renovatio, having made that move just before the safety car was called, timed it to just about perfection, if that move was indeed clean and without contact. Hard to tell. It seemed where the spin was, there could have possibly been contact. And no, Renovatio staying out. I would expect that Oba Mendez is into the pit lane. Oh, Oba Mendez, the 5-second penalty for speeding. Space Ghost is also likely going to come in. So they've both done the opposite of the leader of this race. And while Oba Mendez is going to have some quick tires for the last sprint of this event, they are going to have a 5-second penalty to deal with now. Who else is going to opt for the pit lane? Ivory Lightning has slowed it down and has worked their way into the pit entry, so they're going to go ahead and grab a fresh set of boots. That will promote Stashes up into P3 as they're going to stay out. Same with Project Stealth. So we are just going to have to now wait and see what the right strategy was. Tire-wise, Project Stealth onto a set of 3-lap-old softs. Of course, they did not have any fresh softs left in this one, but should still have enough life to do their final 5 laps or so under green flag racing with those soft tires without too much degradation, maybe the last lap or so. John Lemon has slotted into P5, splitting Oba Mendez and Space Ghost, who have gone on to fresh sets of soft tires. Ivory Lightning and Chronicle on fresh sets. Stolen Valor on a set that is just that 1 lap old. They put those on right before the safety car was called. So a mix-up of tire strategies at the sharp end of the field. Captain Wilco, the only driver on medium compound tires at this stage, should be able to run away from those hard compound tires behind. Gonna be tough to keep up with those 2 softs, but with Zhao on the hards, there is a chance that Wilco might be able to work their way into a points-paying position. Now, this, of course, is assuming no more mistakes and spins, which we've seen plenty of in this race, Division 4. Drivers are finding their pace, of course, but sometimes are prone to the odd mistake. And away we get ready to go. Still not going to be called in just yet. We're waiting for the field to bunch up significantly. It's a long lap, so there is indeed plenty of time for that field to get collected all together. And we will take a moment to try and breathe and also have a little drink of very warm water because it's very hot here and my AC is broken. So it was, a glass of water fresh out of the fridge sitting out for 10 minutes is now a warm glass of water, but hydration is hydration, and I'm totally happy to have the water. Especially after the exceptionally long Xbox Division 1 race that had a red flag in it and took quite a bit of sorting out. So, Gali, Roy, how you guys feeling about this race so far? We're on lap 20 of 26. Gali, how you feeling about Project Stealth's tires in this one? We'll see if we're hanging around. We can see in the chat. Probably won't be for another lap before the safety car gets called. It does get called in fairly late. Normally, most tracks, when you cross the timing beam between Sector 2 and Sector 3, is when that safety car gets called in. In Xbox, our safety car got called in as we were coming through Stowe. So it was a very, very late safety car call. Yes, we can indeed see penalties. 3 seconds for Project Stealth via track limits penalties. Oba Mendez carrying 8 seconds for pit lane speeding plus 3-second track limits. Stolen Valor has that pit lane speeding. Ivory Lightning, 3 seconds for track limits. Chronicle, the awful combo of speeding in the pit lane plus a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Cypher and Blob also carrying those 3-second track limits time penalties. It will likely call the safety car in. Typically, if there's just one straggler, it's not going to call it in. And there's a big gap opening up. I think some cars have overlapped. And we may have a bit of an issue. The safety car is still staying out. So we are waiting one more lap, and we'll let that mid-pack get itself a little bit sorted out once again. So one more lap under safety car conditions. Almost certainly should be getting back to racing here. We'll grab an onboard of Wilco as they pelt their way around, catching up the safety car. No longer having to adhere to a delta as the safety car has collected the leader. So they can go as fast as they need to catch up to the pack in this full course yellow situation. But we should get back to green flag racing on lap 22 of 26. So 5 full lap shootout is expected in this one. And now taking a look at the tires, as there's a big crash between Chronicle and Blob, and you just should not see that. In the safety car queue. There's no reason for it. And now the game's going to be confused, sorting out who should be ahead of who. And there are, now Blob has 8 seconds worth of time penalties. But Stash is your biggest gainer of the race. 8 positions up on those hard compound tires. Looking at a podium. Wilco having the tough day. 9-place drop for them since the start of this race. But keep an eye on how Oba Mendez, Stolen Valor, and Space Ghost do. Ivory Lightning and Chronicle as well. Project Stealth is going to be having to nurse those soft tires a little bit more. I think they may have trouble catching up to Stashes in this one. But we'll go ahead and reconvene with the leader for a moment, as we should be getting the message that the safety car is in this lap relatively soon. And we will get back to green flag racing for the last little bit of Saturday's running here in FRS. Safety car is indeed in this lap. The call has been made. We will wait for that as Renovatio backs up the pack. And we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Bring up the telemetry once again. We can keep an eye on the throttle trace and see when Renovatio decides to properly send it. If they've gotten the heat into those hard compound tires, it's going to be another difference between the hards and softs in this train, is that those hard compound tires will indeed get up to temperature relatively quickly. Or no, slowly. The softs, sorry, will get up to temperature relatively quickly. And there goes Renovatio. Full throttle is down out of the final corner. Good reaction from Stashes just behind. It looks like Wilco has jumped a spot. He's going to have to hand that back because they have not yet crossed the timing line. A mess in the mid-pack. Space Ghost ahead of John Lemon now, as it looks like a slow reaction just a little bit further back. Project Stealth and Stashes dueling it out. And Oba Mendez goes around the outside. His contact between Stashes and Project Stealth. And oh no. Around they go. And around goes the Alpha Tauri. I believe that was Blob who has gone around as well. So nose to tail contact a couple of times here has made a mess of the restart. We will grab the sharp end of the pack. There is still some positions to be sorted, maybe down a little bit further with Zhao, Ivory Lightning, and Stolen Valor. We've got a yellow flag through Sector 1. I believe that is the AlphaTauri of Blob, who is spun around once again. and has now got to get back up to racing speed. But this battle's starting to space out. This one is still starting to heat up. Zhao on the back of Stolen Valor. Exit of Cops on their way into Maggots and Beckett's. Of course, they're only going to have about 2 laps worth of DRS. It doesn't get restated until the 3rd lap under green flag conditions once again. And John Lemon once again back inside the top 5, though. He's got one Mr. Stolen Valor for company. Stolen Valor looking to the inside of Stowe. Not quite close enough to get a nose up the inside. And John Lemon will defend that position. Project Stealth on Captain Wilco, if I can hit the right button. Alpine on Alpine crime there, as looks like they're going to sneak their way through, and Wilco has fallen a little bit ways back as Project Stealth trying to work their way back through after that contact. Oba Mendez is in striking distance of Renovatio, right on about that 1 second, but those 8 seconds worth of time penalties going to be a huge, huge hit to their race time because of that late safety car, though we may see those get the 5 second portion of it get a little bit reduced because of the current season rules that reduce those 5 second penalties for late safety cars, because it just doesn't make sense to penalize somebody that so severely. RV Lightning 3 second time penalty on track limits now is going to be dueling with Project Stealth, as that's a 2.9 second gap. So to stay inside the P8 position, he's got to try and find about a half a second. Oba Mendez is right on the back of Renovatio. We are going to watch this, even though making the overtake, and he's going to have to try and find at least 4 or 5 seconds to clear the penalty differential at bare minimum 3 seconds in case it is an unjust penalty that the game has given. Looks like Renovatio defensive early, back to the racing line, plenty of time before, and we will keep an eye on Stolen Valor in the background of this shot, as to the inside of John Lemon they go. Using those soft compound tires, it was going to be a done deal relatively soon. John Lemon did well to hold them for as long as they did. Yellow flags once again for the AlphaTauri of Blob. Fastest lap of the race set by Oba Mendez, a 31.4 on those soft compounders, and Blob has retired on track. So that will be probably a penalty. Not supposed to retire on track. But out front, Renovatio and Oba Mendez split by just a few tenths of a second. We'll grab Space Ghost and Stashes. Only 3 laps left to go, 2.5 really, as we're getting about the midway point of this lap here. Renovatio from Oba Mendez. Stashes in the podium positions, actually on for a P2, as is Space Ghost in for the podium places because of those time penalties that Oba Mendez is carrying. Stolen Valor in P5 has made it through John Lemon. It has to find some time, though, in order to stay ahead on penalties, and Zhao is starting to work their way on the back of the Alfa Romeo of John Lemon once again as well. So that could get spicy in the last couple of laps in this race, as the train of Stolen Valor, John Lemon, Zhao, Ivory Lightning, Project Stealth about 2 seconds off, but is in the penalty window of Ivory Lightning. So could see quite a few positions being swapped around before this one is done. Space Ghost has gotten a very good run. DRS has been enabled. Opens that rear wing, moves their way past Stashes, and now puts themselves up into a provisional P2 position with Oba Mendez carrying those time penalties. 3.2 seconds the gap. They can essentially ensure themselves a podium even after stewards, because unless there is an unjust track limits warning that Oba Mendez has gotten. But I don't know about that. I won't speculate on it either. Ivory Lightning trying to make their way up to the back of Zhao as that battle has kind of spaced out just a little bit. We'll grab on to the Mercedes on those soft compounded tires. And they've got to try and find their way past Zhao. Zhao on those old hard tires. Ivory Lightning, those 6 laps done on these softs, they should be starting to feel a little bit of pain and start to hit their drop-off point. So, penalties as they stand: 8 seconds for Oba Mendez, 5 for Stolen Valor, 6 for Ivory Lightning, 3 for Project Stealth, 3 for Chronicle, and 6 for Cypher. This is the only battle on track at the moment within 1 second, as Ivory Lightning really using the grip of those soft tires, carrying good speed through left field, but it looks like Zhao just has gotten the car straightened out a little bit better, gotten on the power a little bit more, and Project Stealth is inside the penalty window of Ivory Lightning, and by a considerable margin, with just 1 lap left to go in this one. Renovatio just needs to bring it home He's got 3 point, or just over 4 seconds actually to Space Ghost and P3. And even if Oba Mendez sneaks through, will likely be able to hold that position based on the time penalty. Stolen Valor is snuck within the 1 second margin of Stashes, and Ivory Lightning not yet able to make an impression. Zhao, though, closing up on the back of John Lemon. John Lemon's got to make some good defense here to hold on to P6 in this race. Both drivers with no penalties. Space Ghost with the fastest lap of the race, but no penalties for John Lemon or Zhao, so it's going to be decided on track here. So can John Lemon survive the 2 DRS zones? Do they have enough battery charge on board? Can they defend their spot well enough in this final lap? Renovatio leads from Oba Mendez and Space Ghost, but your tightest battle on the track here is between Zhao and John Lemon. Stolen Valor is a similar gapping, but that time penalty will make an overtake relatively moot unless there is a significant time gain as well. But John Lemon survives the first DRS zone. Just has 2 more DRS zone, or 1 more DRS zone, and a good overtaking opportunity down into the Vale chicane left to survive in this one. Zhao has gotten a good launch through left field, tripping over my words, and through Cops. And look at this. They're going to try and have a little look to the inside. No, they're going to have to back out and lose some momentum. Ivory Lightning with another time penalty. That will drop them. Project Stealth has made a mistake. It's a 10-second gap. I just looked up, and it's a 10-second gap between the Ivory Lightning and Project Stealth. So Ivory might just hold P8 here. DRS is open, flashing lights on both cars, but it doesn't look like that move is going to be made by Zhao. We're going to grab the leader as they come through the final corner and takes the race win. Stolen Valor not going to be close enough to make the move. Maybe actually going to sneak it up the inside. No. And around through they go. John Lemon's going to jump up to P4 because of the penalties. So that puts Space Ghost and Stashes on the podium. Ivory Lightning comes across. Project Stealth has gotten it back to 9.3 seconds. They do have 3 seconds of time penalties on their own, so that is going to be the margin, 3.2. Wilco comes across the line and takes the last point here in the British Grand Prix. The Renovatio taking the lead at just the right time, right before that safety car was called. Space Ghost doing well to put themselves P2 on the podium. Stashes and John Lemon making for a very solid 3-4 for Alfa Romeo. So good points for that outfit. Oba Mendez and Stolen Valor, the 2 Ferraris, having a day not to remember, not their best result for the Ferrari outfit, and that is going to be a big blow to the championship hopes of Stolen Valor, because Space Ghost collected quite a few points on that one. Stash is picking up the game's driver of the day, making their way through the field and putting themselves onto the podium. So a good result for Stashes. A good drive from John Lemon as well to defend in that final lap in nearly sitting duck type territory, but used the racecraft well through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel to just get Zhao a little bit wrong-footed on the exit, made enough of a gap. But once again, your professional race leader, as far as we can tell, we don't know what necessarily happened between Reno and Oba Mendez earlier, the Ferrari earlier. But on top step of the podium is Renovatio taking the race win for Mercedes. P2, Space Ghost grabbing another solid haul of points here in PC Division 4, showing their pace and decent consistency there. And of course, P3, none other than Stashes in the Alfa Romeo. So a solid drive for our 3 podium finishers. Congratulations to all 3 of them. And in just a moment, we will take a look at the full rundown, and I will attempt to pick my own driver of the day. But at quick first glance, 10 places gained for Stashes. Really hard to argue against them as driver of the day. But your classification: Space Ghost P2, Stashes 3, John Lemon 4th, Oba Mendez is 5th, Zhao 6th, Stolen Valor 7th, Ivory Lightning, Project Stealth, and Wilco rounding out the points paying positions. Chronicle comes home 11th with Cypher in 12th, as Blob, Delta the Hunter, and Squids all took early retirements in this one. So, thank you all for joining me once again. Sorry for the late start because of the red flags. Came in very hot and very quick. but we were able to survive the race. Thank you all for tuning into this one. It was full of action throughout. As you can see, we've got some more racing tomorrow on both the FRS Community and FRS Motorsports channels. So look to those for PlayStation Division 1, PC Division 3, and PC Division 2 to round out Week 5 and finish off the halfway point of the season. Then, the following week, we head to Miami. First visit in FRS history, and first time it's been in the game, so we are looking forward to seeing how that does in that one. But thank you guys for joining me. I will catch you guys if you're tuning into the streams tomorrow. I will be on at least, I guess, just one of them tomorrow. Now I think about it. I think I'm just on one of them tomorrow. But thank you guys for joining me. Check out both the FRS Motorsports and FRS Community channels to catch up on all the action throughout the rest, and the FRS YouTube page. We've got playlists for all the races so far this season, so you can catch up through there. The full streams are available. But thank you guys once again, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.